Howdy.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Beck. No, don't do that. My name is Maury Beck, but a lot of my friends and enemies call me Mo. So you can call me Mo. If you feel like you have to be more formal, I guess you could be Dr. Mo, but you don't have to do that, okay? You probably will anyway, but see, there's only one person in this universe who has a bigger ego than me. He just got elected president. So, if you call me by those appellations like doctor or whatever, this makes my head swell. So it's better to, keep it under control. Because big egos kind of freak me out. My own especially. I mean, if I was ever president, we would have had nuclear wars already. Just because. So, Mo is good. Now, this is Biology 100, right? Anybody in here who's not in Biology 100? Okay. There's supposed to be 120 people in here, but it seems a little, well, it holds a lot more, so maybe that's why. Oh, I know. Plus, there's all those people in the back. Are you back there? Are you shy? Is that why you're back there? Are you shy? No. Why? Oh, do you have devices that you can get on the internet so they can do that during class? That's fine, I don't care. Just so you know. Is that why you're back there? No. Okay. You can stay back there. But it doesn't mean that you escape my gaze or my questions. In fact, probably what will happen is I'll ask you guys more questions than everybody else combined. Because I think some of you are so shy you won't admit it. And that way I don't want you to get lost. Okay. You can bring smartphones and all that stuff in class. I don't want you to be playing games, but we're going to be using certain things on the net that we're going to be useful. We can access with a smartphone or a tablet, or even an old-fashioned phone, cell phone, where you have to dial a number. So I'll explain that in a bit. I teach another section. I know some people from this section want to get into that. There might be some that want to get into this. So if you want to change sections, let me know at the end of the class. If you're here and you're not enrolled in the class but want to get in, at the end of the class, come by and we'll talk about it. From what I understand, we want to enroll more students. We're underneath the level that we want to be. Okay. Let's see. Yes?
What is your other section? Is it Monday, Wednesday, or?
Oh, no, it's Tuesday, Thursday. It's just before this. Goes from 11 to 12:15. Good question. Yeah, so I'm kind of back to back. Depending on how excited I got on the first class will probably, have an impact on how excited I am for this class. So if I was jumping around, I might be needing a nap right now. But we'll see. I think I'm okay. God, I haven't even had coffee today. That's weird. Okay. Yeah, drugs are good. Now, oh, I'm not supposed to say that. Yeah. Okay, we're going to deal with that kind of free speech later. there seems to be a dearth, you know what a dearth means? Not so much, of free speech on college campuses because people don't want to get other people mad at them. But I'm kind of provocative, and I have a big ego like Donald Trump, so I'm going to probably say things that, you know, kind of make people crazy. But it'll only be for the furtherance of your knowledge, perhaps. So I'll give you a little brief bio. I have not always been a college professor. Once upon a time, I was a film editor. Now, you might wonder, well, why am I in biology now and not then? Well, back when I was in college, it was, there were no women in science. You know, it was thought back then that women were incapable of science, or mathematics and all that. There's still some people out there that believe that, but they're idiots. First of all, I'm not very good at mathematics. I mean, I went to calculus, but I've met lots of women that are theoretical physicists and all that. I mean, their math skills are way beyond. So anyway, back then, you couldn't meet girls in science classes. You know, I mean, that's the whole reason to go to college, right? Isn't it? To meet girls and boys so that, I mean, that's it. I mean, I know there's this other stuff that they say you get other things out of it, but when I went to school, that was it. I went to meet girls, and there weren't a lot of women in science. So I said, okay, I'm going to make movies. And now when you point a camera or a movie camera at someone, well, they usually get real interested. They think, oh, maybe he thinks I'm cute or something. At least that's what I thought back then. Now, you realize I'm being very chauvinistic right now. I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. Okay? It's okay. You can report me later. So I became a film editor, and I met lots of women, and starlets, and wannabe actresses, and oh, it was great. And they paid me a hell of a lot more money than they do now. And you're probably wondering why I changed. Well, I just always loved biology. And so I went back to school to make less money, and that way now to supplement my income, I now rob banks to supplement. But I don't rob. Anybody in here hunt? For shame. Okay. Now, anybody know what a quail is? Okay, quails are little birds. They're part of the kind of pheasant family, chicken family. They run around along the ground. They're here. One of the things as a hunter is you usually don't hunt your neighborhood covey. It's looked upon askance. It's not really, it doesn't follow protocol. You really shouldn't do that. You're probably wondering, why am I talking about this when I was just talking about banks? Well, the same sort of thing applies to banks. If you're going to rob a bank, you should not rob your neighborhood bank. Because, well, you can understand, why would you not want to rob your neighborhood bank? Anybody? What do you think?
Because they will fight.
It's more likely, right? Yeah, exactly. So it's better to go somewhere else. So when I rob banks to supplement my income, I go to Winnemucca in Nevada, just so you know. Now, there's a downside to that. In Nevada, people have a lot more guns. But what can you do when you need the money? So, Anyway, I went back to school at a later age. It was a big mistake. I've always loved biology, especially evolutionary biology, and so I finally went on and got a PhD, and so I'm an ecologist and an evolutionary biologist. That's what I do. I think about evolution a lot. I think about a lot of things a lot. In fact, I think about too much about everything. But anyway, that's one of the things I do. So I went back to school and I was interested in a question. Anybody in here like fruit?
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think there's fruit? Anybody? Why would a plant make fruit?
To spread the seed.
Yeah. Now, in other words, an animal like you comes along to an apple tree. Remember the Garden of Eden? Yeah. And a tree has put a lot of resources in this apple. It's used some of the sugars that it made to put into the apple, so it's kind of sweet, and it's got a fair amount of calories in it. It's got other things in it, but the main thing is that a lot of animals like to eat it, like you do. Now, a lot of animals, like a bear, will come along and eat an apple tree. And the seeds, he'll swallow all the seeds. And because he walks around, unlike the plants, you really have to feel sorry for plants. They're stuck where they are. Can you imagine being you want to go to Nova Scotia? No. You're not going to go to Nova Scotia if you're a tree. You're stuck. You've got nowhere to go. The only way plants move is to send their offspring out into the grand world. Now, usually we don't do that, especially nowadays. It's like, oh, all these bad things can happen to offspring. In the natural world, by the way, offspring are a dime a dozen, and that's usually where most mortality happens. Not nowadays, though, for humans, but for most other things, and a lot of humans, too. But that's besides the point. Anyway, plants are stuck in place, and so they have to find new places to live. And there's a number of different reasons for why it might be good for seeds to get dispersed. We'll just say that's why. Now, a bear comes along, eats it. What does he do? Why does a bear shit in the woods? Right? Okay, not supposed to use that word. Poop. Okay. Now, the bear is not thinking, oh, I better eat this apple to disperse its seeds. Not thinking that at all. It's thinking, this apple's good. Right? The tree is not thinking, I better make this fruit. Remember, trees, they don't have brains. They don't have feelings. At least we don't know that they do, but it doesn't appear to be, that they're what we would call sentient beings. Even though some people play music, like Mozart, because they think their plants do better listening to Mozart than Black Sabbath or something like that. That dated me. Anyway, so that's those are the kinds of things I was looking at. Now, these kind of interactions are called mutualisms. And it's kind of like cooperation. I scratch your back, you scratch my back, right? We both get something for it. The plant gets the seeds dispersed. The bear gets food. And then it turns out that plants can manipulate the dispersers that they have eat their fruit. You might think, how do they do that? Well, first of all, some trees probably make like more tasteful apples than others, or a different kind of apple, or they make Well, something that I did, I would look at rodents that would come along and get seeds. They wouldn't eat the fruit, they weren't interested in, they were in the seeds, and they'd bury them. Anybody ever cache stuff like in the ground or hoard stuff? Are there any hoarders in here? Anybody? Come on. Anybody hoard like firewood? Anybody hoard jewelry? No one has jewelry? You put it in a safe place? Oh. Anyway, a lot of animals do. I said firewood because I just love to cut and split firewood. I just do. I always have. I've always lived in a place where there was a wood stove, and it was just wonderful. You get in trouble, you know, chainsaws are sharp and the trees can fall on you, but all in all, it's been a good experience for me. Anyway, so animals a lot of times place resources in places that, let's say, they can get to them easily, or that they're protected, right? So I would get all this wood and put it right next to my house, and it was right there. I didn't have to go out every time trying to find new wood. Of course, I was worried having all that wood in one place, because what if someone came along and stole it? So I had to set up a whole bunch of guns and stuff, so there was a tripwire and everybody, and I almost shot myself once. No, I didn't do that. So animals do that too. A lot of animals take seeds and put them in the ground, and they've got really good memories, and they come back and they get them later. In fact, there's some birds that are the best at it of all animals. They're called nutcrackers, and during the season they might cache 30,000 seeds all over the place. And they do it all over the place because if you put everything in one place, it might all get robbed. So supposedly by spreading it out, you will only lose a few seeds, and so no big deal. But these birds have incredible spatial memories. Anyway, so that's the kind of stuff that I was interested in, instead of starlets and making movies. So that's why I'm a biology teacher now. It was a good move, except like I said, it doesn't pay a lot. That's why I'll put up my the routing number to my account in the Bahamas so that people can make donations. Okay? And the more donations you make, you get the picture? Okay. Good. Okay. So we're going to look at biology. Biology is a huge topic, obviously. I was just interested in evolutionary biology, not like, you know, well, some of it's useful, but a lot of it's just for knowing stuff so that I can appear intelligent. But biology is huge. And of course, biology is just, so there's all different kinds of biology. There's cell biology, there's molecular biology, there's genetics, there's evolution, ecology, all sorts of different things. So I'm going to give you kind of an overview of what biology is. And I'm probably going to give you a lot of facts, which I don't like. But more importantly, I'm going to try to introduce you to scientific thinking. Has anybody else taken a science class in college? Or is this your only one? Okay. So, science, obviously, there's a lot to it. Not just physics, chemistry, biology. There's a bunch of kind of soft sciences like psychology and things like that. So I'll give you an overview of just some of that. Mostly it's going to be stuff that you're interested in terms of what might impact your life. Human biology and let's say human reproduction, cancer, infectious diseases, all that kind of stuff. But first we're going to talk about science. Now, this class, I use a couple of different resources. I don't have the Moodle site, the Moodle page set up yet. Also, we're switching over to something called Canvas, but it'll be up shortly. For the winter break, I was gone. I got snowed in at a friend's ranch, so I just got back. I wish I had remained snowed in, to tell you the truth. But okay, so I got out, and the class, you're going to have to buy a few things. I'm sorry. One of them is I use something called Top Hat. It'll be on the syllabus. It's on the syllabus that I show here, Top Hat. It's a computer-assisted teaching tool where I can put up questions on material that we covered, and then you answer those questions in class. And to do that, you either need a smartphone or a tablet or even a regular cell phone where you can dial a number and do it. But it's going to cost, to do that, I think Top Hat is, I believe it's $20. And Top Hat is part of your grade. Oh, by the way, I'm recording all this. Now, normally what I'll be doing is I'll actually be recording, there'll be film and everything for this class because it's a smart classroom. And that'll be posted every week, but it's not really set up yet. So I'm recording it now on this and going to post it on YouTube. But anyway, so Top Hat you're going to have to buy. And then throughout the semester, I'll be asking these questions during class that I'll put up. And you'll answer them. And by attempting to answer them, you get half a point. And then if you do it right, you get another half a point for each question. And I use it mainly, I think, it's part of your grade. But I use it mainly to kind of understand where people might be having problems, whether they actually are understanding what I'm saying, or if I'm leading to mass confusion, or maybe just sleep, right? So anyway, I want to make sure that things are going. But probably what I'll do is you'll be able to answer the Top Hat questions for not just in class, but for the, let's say, the following week, and then I'll shut those questions down. And there's going to be about 200 total, but Top Hat is worth about 50 points for each question answered correctly. So you have more than enough opportunity to get full 50 points, to learn a lot of the questions are like what it's going to be on the test. Good, right? Unfortunately, it's true, false, and what is it? Kind of test. And it's anyway, it's just multiple choice. I thought about giving everybody, like essays. I said, right, but then I have to grade them. I don't want to do that. I might, it'd be nice maybe one essay, and I could use that for the semester if I'm having trouble getting to sleep. I read the first page of it and then go right to sleep. It's really a good way to do it. So, Top Hat. Now, a lot of people we're not going to sign up today, and we're probably going to start signing up next week. I'll have it all up on the board here about how to do it. You'll pay your $20, and then we'll start playing around with it, and actually answering questions for real will not start until, like, say, the third week. Okay? So, in other words, the questions that I put up before then, you'll get for free. Everybody will get those right. Okay? So you've been getting a head start there. Now, a lot of people, I won't say a lot, some people in here will not take it seriously, and they won't do Top Hat. And then when I shut one section of questions down and open up another, they'll say, can I go back? And I'll say, no, you can't go back and answer those questions. You had your chance, and it's not like it's only going to be open for a day. So, and by the end of the semester, some people will have just completely blown it off, and they'll say, please, please, and I'll say, please what? You want to please me? Here's my bank account in the Cayman Islands. Okay, so it's a useful tool, not only for me, but for you, because it'll give you an idea of what's going to be on the test. Okay, now, and of course, we can also go over some of the answers, why it's this and not that, etc. Okay. Now there's another computer assisted device that we're going to use. It's called biol exercises, and these are simulation exercises. There are 4 of them. They each cost $5, so it's another $20. 3 of them are for 25 points each. We'll get a breakdown of that in a second. And then 1 will be for extra credit. Now, I use these because a lot of times things that I'm trying to explain are much more easily understood if you run through like a simulation of, let's say, evolution. There's something called Darwinian snails, where crabs come along and eat snails, and there's variation in the snail's thickness, and the crabs can eat some and not others, right? And so you actually see how snail populations would evolve over time compared to the one group that's eaten by crabs and another that's not. Okay, so you can actually see that instead of me just talking about evolution by natural selection. The same thing goes with this. It'll be on Moodle when each one is due. I'll also put out a schedule, a PDF of the actual schedule of what we're going to be covering. And it's going, it'll tell you when these things are due. And they're all online. They're all just on your computer. You don't have to write anything and hand it in or anything like that. Again, there's a time, this is to help you, and it really does actually help for a number of different topics like cell division. We have one on that. We have one on population growth. Okay, just a few of those. Again, people often get in trouble. This is my experience. They don't sign up. They don't understand how to sign up, and they just kind of blow it off. If you don't understand something, just email me and ask me, or ask me in class. I'm not going to bite your head off. I know I'm a big dude, right, and with a bad temper and all that, but I won't yell at you. I'll help you. I know I'm intimidated, right? You're scared, right? Okay. But I'm paid to be nice. And so I will be nice to you and help you out. If you have trouble signing up for Top Hat or Symbio, let me know. Now, it's money. Of course, some of you, well, we're not at UCLA, so not everybody here is wealthy. So you might say, well, that's $20 is still $20. I mentioned that I help my income by robbing banks, and I'll share some secrets with you if you need to get some extra money. Okay, but these exercises have to be done on time. If you wait to do a symbio exercise, there's different sections, and you can start, the minute you sign up, you can start on them and do one section at a time. It will remember everything, all the answers you've made. You can then go back and change them, whatever you want. But if you put it out off until the end, you'll find, some people find that it's not working properly for them. Something went haywire, or they didn't install it correctly, whatever. And then they're late. Don't put things off until the bitter end. Sign up for those things and then try to start working on them. Now, I know that's not going to exactly work for everybody, but just try. If they're turned in late, the first day and week after they're turned in, you get 20% off. The second week, you get 50% off. And then after that, you get no credit. Now, the nice thing about these symbios is that you are guaranteed, if you answer all the questions, you are guaranteed to get a B. You don't have to answer them right. It's a bunch of kind of interactive thing, this and that, and there are some graded questions at the end, but everything else is just taking you through the simulation where you have to answer a number of different questions, maybe 40 or something like that. Those are ungraded questions, but you have to answer them. If you answer them, that's 80% of the grade. That's a B. So if you answer all of them, you automatically get a B. And that'll help you because people tend to do better on those things than on, let's say, on the tests. Okay? So you can easily bring your grade up. Plus, there's even one that's extra credit. It's easy to bring your grade up by doing all the symbios, even if you, let's say, one test you really screw up. Okay? Plus, it'll help you for the test, because there'll be questions on symbio from the symbio exercises, actually, on the tests. Okay, so this gets us to the exams. Let's go. Okay, so there's actually another one. So there's 3 midterm exams. By the way, the syllabus is going to be on Moodle. And I'm recording this so you can actually rewatch this to put yourself to sleep at night. And there are 3 tests. Each one is worth 40 points. And then the final, which is worth 55. Okay. They're all multiple choice. You use the Scantron. It's called 882E, but that'll be, you'll see that, and you'll learn that, which ones to bring. And this is kind of the breakdown. And then you get 25 points, 50 points for the top hat. That's the top. So if you answer 50 of those 200 right, you get full points. If you answer 100 questions and you only get 30 right, then you'll get 30 points. Actually, a little bit more, because you're getting a half a point for trying. Okay? And then there's an extra credit for meiosis, which is producing gametes, sperm and eggs and all that. And that's for extra credit. So there's a lot of chances to get extra points. And then hopefully, more importantly, you'll learn stuff in the process. And then in terms of the letter grades, you can see how it's broken down. Anything over like 70% up to almost to just under 75 is a C. 75% to 77.5, that's a C plus. A little over 77.5.1 up to just under 80 is B minus. And it goes for like all of those. So that's how your grades are going to be computed. You'll be able to see your grades or your percentages of everything that we've done on Moodle. So you have a kind of an idea of where you're at. Of course, it's going to show you the totals. It'll show you each assignment, whether it's a test or whatever. but it'll also show you totals, and then those are all, percentages are all messed up because you haven't done all those things yet. So it's fairly easy to get a decent score and a grade in here. Withdrawals. You may decide that you don't like the class. I will be hurt. I will need therapy. But within the first 3 weeks, you can drop the class and nothing will happen. But you have to drop it. You can't just say, oh, I'll stop showing up. If you do that, you'll end up still enrolled in the class, and then you'll get a WA, an unauthorized withdrawal. Yeah, a WU, which is like an F. So don't do that. Now, after the first 3 weeks, you need an excuse. So if I wanted, let's say I needed to withdraw from the class, and I've gone out to Winnemucca to hold up a bank to get money, and I get shot, that's a valid excuse for a medical withdrawal, where you can withdraw from the class after from the 4th week on. Or if you have a major family emergency. Remember, your grandma can only die twice. Okay, not 4 times. Some people can't count and they have 4 grandmas. Well, some people actually do have 4 grandmas, okay, but let's say you can't use excuses like, you can, if you miss a class, it's no big deal. You should probably tell me that you're going to miss a class. If you can't, let's say make a test on that specific day. I'll schedule a test for a different day. Don't miss any tests. But in terms of withdrawals, you need a valid medical reason or, let's say, a family emergency. Now, let's say someone ends up in the hospital and their whole semester is ruined. It's harder to get a withdrawal for a medical emergency. You have to go through all of these shenanigans and stuff from doctors showing what happened. Usually, if you have a medical emergency and it's screwed up your semester, you withdraw from all your classes. That's hard to do. So if you're going to withdraw, it's fine. Do it within the first 3 weeks. Some people might want to switch from this class to the previous class, the one just before it. You can do that, maybe, if I have room. So let me know. I know there's some students already that approached me on that. And there might be some new people coming in. So just get an idea about withdrawal. Accommodations for hearing and sight and all that. We provide accommodations. So the last class, there were some hearing impaired people. So we had someone doing signing for them. A lot of students freak out when they take exams. They apparently just melt into a puddle on the floor. So we have to get, plant management in here to clean you up. It's really a mess. So if you have a problem with taking tests and you need a little extra time, you can sign up for disabilities resources. And you can take the test in one of their rooms and you'll have extra time. Now, I don't like to give tests where you're hurrying. So there's 50 points on each, 50 questions on each test. It usually doesn't take even an hour. You'll get an hour and 15 minutes at least, maybe more. In fact, you're not going to be timed on anything. So if you have a hard time finishing a test, you can always come up to my office and finish it there. I want to know what you know, and I want you to be tested on all the questions and not just some of them. Um, So, also, if you take the test in class, you can ask me questions things you don't understand. So you ask me a question about, why do plants make fruit, right? And you'll ask me, and I'll give you the answer. It's really simple. No, I won't. I'll probably ask you another question to help you out. Or you don't know a word that I use. I have a decent vocabulary. Maybe you don't understand the word, so I'll have to explain it to you. So that's one thing you can do that you can't do if you're taking a test over in disability resources. But it's up to you. I'll do anything I can to help you guys out in terms of exams or anything else for that matter. Academic dishonesty. You know what that means? What do you think? What does it mean? Yeah, cheating. Right. Now, cheating is not all bad. Well, if you can cheat and not get caught, it's great. Of course, a lot of times you put more energy into cheating than actually learning the material, but that's besides the point. But I look at cheating in terms of an evolutionary perspective. And what I mean by that is a lot of organisms have antagonistic relationships. We've been talking about a mutualism where a plant makes a fruit and the bear comes along and eats it, or you eat it, and then we disperse the seeds and all that. That's a mutualism. In other words, both sides get benefits. A lot of interactions are positive, negative, predator-prey. A cheetah runs after a gazelle. If it wins, it eats the gazelle loses. If the gazelle wins and gets away, the cheetah loses not its life, but it spent all that energy for no reason. Well, cheating is the same way in terms of evolution, in terms of class evolution. So I'm looking out for everybody that's cheating. I'm pretty good at it, but I'm getting older, and I'm getting less good at it, and you might be able to get away with it. So it's kind of like a predator-prey relationship. If you can get away with it, bully for you. I'll never know about it. If you can't get away with it, then obviously it's like the gazelle. The gazelle died. You get an F. Okay? So I'm saying this because I want you to start thinking about evolution, because I think evolution is totally cool. Okay? So, now what else are we doing? Oh, you can read that stuff on tips. The classroom community, don't talk. If you get a really good stop tip, let me know. That's okay, but otherwise, you're going to have devices for this top hat thing, whether it's a computer or a laptop or a tablet or whatever. But just don't go randomly on the internet. But you can certainly bring those devices in the class. Oh, you were just, okay. I'll try to pick it up here. Maybe, let's see, at 1:25, everybody will do some jumping jacks. Okay, now, equity and diversity, right. Now, I have to treat everyone in this class equally badly. Okay? No favorites here. I don't care who you are. As I mentioned, what was it? Oh, why I went into film editing, to meet girls. Girls, you don't get a benefit from me. Now, I'm not supposed to say that, but just to make sure everybody's on the same page, everybody gets the same. You can ask me a question, I can help you. I'm not against guys, I just don't like them. Okay? But you're still going to get my help. I don't care how you live your life, I really don't care. I just don't. We've got a new president that seems to care. Maybe something bad will happen to him. Freedom of speech. Okay. There's been this stuff about college students being sensitive about certain subjects. I think, including uncomfortable ones, like some of the stuff I just said that was clearly chauvinistic, right? Now, I use that as a humorous way, but college is a free speech area as far as I'm concerned. Nowadays, you're supposed to maybe give trigger warnings about things that might get some people upset so they can go leave the classroom. It may happen, it may not. But for example, I'm going to be talking a lot about sex. And you'll say, well, why? Well, because I'm obsessed with sex, right? That's all I care about. Mainly because we're going to talk about evolution, and in evolution, it's all about sex and death. That's all it's about. Having as much sex as possible while keeping death as far away as possible for as long as possible. That's all that counts, because out of sex you get reproduction. The more offspring you leave, the more of your genes go into future generations. So the coin of the realm is the number of offspring you have. Humans have decided it otherwise, but in general, that's the way evolution works. Someone has traits that are better for a specific environment, you leave more offspring. Or you leave one super offspring, right? So I'm going to be talking a lot about sex and death that might make you uncomfortable. But this is something you have to learn, and I'm not doing it just to be talking about sex, even though I do like to talk about sex. Okay? So offspring in evolution, that's the coin of the realm. Like I said, nowadays people have been limiting the number of offspring, but in the past, up until the last 100 and something years, people didn't live very long. They had lots of kids, but most of them died in childbirth or as infants or young children. Only the unlucky ones survived long enough to breed, and then they usually had some terrible death that befell them. Okay? So, I'm talking about these things to get you to understand certain concepts. So in evolution, it's all about sex and death. Survival and reproduction. That's how it works. And some people survive and reproduce, or some organisms then better than others because of traits they have. Okay. We're also going to be talking about, let's say, diseases like cancer. Terrible disease. You probably know people who've had cancer or died from cancer or had cancer yourself. I'll be sensitive to it, but we're going to be talking about how it happens, why it happens, some new treatments and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to be talking about certain things that are maybe touchy. And plus, I'd say inappropriate things all the time. That's just who I am. I make funny, well, you've seen it. Some of you have not been laughing at me at all. I'm noticing that. Laugh? Smile? Okay. But anyway, it's a free flow of ideas. Let's see. Oh, yeah. If I say inappropriate things or do inappropriate touching, I don't, but just in case something happens, you can report me. Go on the website, the main campus website. Let's see. It actually says up here what the website is. So when I post the syllabus, you can report me for whatever. I don't mind. I have nothing to fear. Maybe. Okay. So let's see. That's good.